Well, it's really a pleasure to be here, and I do want to thank everyone, all of you in attendance, the Sacklers, and especially research, because I couldn't agree more. This really is about honoring Research America. I want to start with a story, and it's about what you need to be happy. Should be something some of us could identify with. But I remember, I think back to 6th grade and 5th grade, and people said, oh, if you want to be happy, you really have to do well in reading, and you have to get into the good class at junior high. And if you really want to do well, then in junior high, you really have to do well, and have to do well on the PSATs. And in high school, if you really want to be happy, you better get into the right advanced placement classes. Does any of this sound familiar to anyone of us? You have to be in the right advanced placement classes, and then you have to do really well on the SATs and your advanced placement test. And of course, you have to go to the right college. You have to get into a good school, and you have to do really well in college and then score well on the MCATs or whatever professional test you're going to take, and then you have to get into the right medical school, the right graduate program, the right residency, and these were all the things you had to do to be happy. And it didn't strike me until very recently that what really makes me happy is working with people that I respect and who respect me and who I really appreciate. It's the people you work with that's going to make you happy. And why it was an amazing story to me is not only was this not stressed as one of the things that's important to make you happy, it wasn't even mentioned. It wasn't mentioned. And it strikes me now that I have been very, very lucky to live with people, to live with a fantastic family, and to work with incredible people who have been really, really important in my own happiness and the few things I've been able to do. And I have been really lucky to have two incredible mentors, Bill Foege and Howard Hyatt. Howard is here tonight, and I thank you, Howard, immensely for all you've given to me and all you've taught me. And they have taught me so much about this area of global health. And they have taught me that it's not only who you work with, but it's who you work for. And they have taught me that we work for the people who are suffering around the world, not just the people that we see here, but global health is the health in Roxbury, Massachusetts. This is a direct quote from you, Howard. Roxbury, Massachusetts, or in a Navajo reservation in Arizona, or in Rwanda, or in Peru, or in Haiti. That's global health, what we do for everybody around the world. And Bill Foege said it very well. He said, when he was talking about CDC, he said, if we are to maintain the reputation this institution now enjoys, it will be because in everything we do, behind everything we say, as the basis for every decision we make, we will be willing to see faces. The faces of those we work for, the faces those we do research for, the faces of the people who drive us. And we're driven by compassion and by consequential compassion. I'm going to tell you another story because it was mentioned that I've worked in global road safety. So this is a story about road safety, and it theoretically happened in Atlanta, but a woman called up her husband one morning and she said, oh my God, Charles, I'm so glad I got you on your car phone, because on the very road you take to work, I've just been watching the news, and there is this crazy, stupid idiot driving in the wrong direction. I'm so glad I got you before you got into trouble. And he says to her, wait, Oh my God, yes, I see him. Oh, I see them. There's hundreds of them. There's hundreds of them. And in global health, there are millions of them. There are millions and millions of faces. And we've got to see the faces of millions or tens of millions or hundreds of millions of people that we work for. And it's very easy to lose sight of the faces when you focus on the numbers. But it's so important that we do both. And I think global health research and global health work is particularly challenging. It's difficult and sometimes it's lonely because the faces of those people we're trying to help are far away. You may never see them. And some of the ones we're working for are not yet born. You will never see them. And unlike a doctor who does clinical work and clinical medicine to complement her research, they see their patients, and their patients may be very, very grateful. In global health, we often don't see them, and they don't see us. And that's hard. It can be lonely. And the support of an organization like Research America is so important when you're in the trenches and when you're discouraged and when you're struggling. And that support from Mary Woolley that I've personally received in extraordinary ways and from her whole staff here has really been wonderful. And I can't thank them enough. I also want to just make a comment about John Porter, because someone said after John Porter's talk, oh, that's easy for him to say now that he's out of politics. That's easy for John to say now. Well, I want to tell you, that's what John said then. That's what John said then. Because in injury, we have a couple of things that cause a lot of deaths. One is cars, and the other is guns. And John supported the importance of research on preventing firearm deaths when it was not popular. And Mike Castle helped with that as well. There are two extraordinary advocates here in the audience who helped that. And you may be aware that there was an attack on research by the NRA. And it was led, and it came to a head in 1996 in our own House of Representatives. And the effort was led by a man named Jay Dickey. Jay Dickey was a congressman from Arkansas. He was a Republican, born-again Christian, NRA card-toting conservative Republican, and he led the attack. And through his efforts, $2.6 million in research on firearm injuries was removed from the CDC budget. And language was put into the CDC budget that said none of these funds shall be used to promote or advocate gun control. We weren't advocating gun control. We were doing research. And we were trying to use research to find an answer. And that research got stopped. It got stopped in its tracks by this very strong multi-pronged attack. And CDC caved. CDC caved in, and the research came to a halt. And it wasn't until very recently that President Obama issued an executive order and told CDC, we need research. We need research in this area. And it was a wonderful, wonderful thing he did. This research is so, so important, and it's so difficult because there are two goals we're trying to solve at the same time. We're trying to prevent firearm injuries and deaths. We're trying to prevent massacres of our children sitting at their desks. And at the very same time, we're trying to preserve the rights of legitimate gun owners. We have both goals in mind, and we don't have the answers. We don't know what works. And there are many people who want to settle for banning high-capacity magazines. There are people who want to settle for banning assault weapons and for having universal background checks. That's like saying that we solved the problem of motor vehicle injuries and deaths once we had anti-lock brakes and seatbelts. And any of you who have teenage children learning to drive know that we haven't solved the problem of motor vehicle injury deaths. We need more research to solve that, and we need some research to find out what to do in this area of preventing firearm deaths. It's an area where we really need post-partisanship. Jay Dickey, who led that charge against firearm injury research at CDC, has over the years talked to me, I've talked to him, and we have actually become very, very close friends. And we agree on the need for research to see us out of this mess where we fear for our children's lives in shopping malls, in schools, in churches, in mosques. Research is an answer. It has led us out of so many medical dilemmas, and it can lead us out of this one. And there's no better voice to be an advocate for this research than Research America. It has the potential to do extraordinary, extraordinary things to make this a better world for all of us here, all of us around the world, and even those of us who are yet to enter it. So from the bottom of my heart, I thank all of you for persisting in this area and for Research America for leading the way. Thanks very, very much.